Did you know that at the very south of the Iberian Peninsula there is a 6.5 kilometer square landmass that is a British overseas territory? Today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know when you're visiting the Rock, also known as Gibraltar. If you're new here, my name's Johnny. I'm originally from the UK, but I've been living and working in Spain for the past 4.5 years, and I'm currently visiting Gibraltar as I make this video. So how did this tiny piece of land that is right next to Spain become a British overseas territory? This dates back to the early 1700s. The name Gibraltar comes from the Arabic Gibraltar, which means Tarek's Rock. In the early 1700s, the territory was ceded to the United Kingdom, and the territory has been under control of the United Kingdom ever since. So the sovereignty and status of Gibraltar still remains a point of contention between Spain and the United Kingdom in international relations. So as Gibraltar is a British overseas territory and that the UK was never part of the Schengen area, nor was it part of the customs union now that it's left the EU, there is a land border between Gibraltar and Spain as you enter the territory. And entering Gibraltar from Spain, or when leaving Gibraltar to enter Spain, there are passport checks and customs checks in some cases, both for vehicles and pedestrians entering and leaving both territories. In my experience, this didn't take too long. It was pretty much straight in when we entered Gibraltar, though in the past, depending on the time of day and perhaps even political situation at some points, these checks have caused long waits and queues at the border on both sides. You can also fly to Gibraltar. A lot of flights going in and out of Gibraltar are direct connections with the UK, likes of London and Manchester and Bristol as well. Fun fact about the airport in Gibraltar as well is that it actually goes right across the main road. That means that when planes need to take off, the road actually gets closed for pedestrians and motorcycle and scooter traffic. Cars also used to go down this road. This is the same road that comes into Gibraltar from Spain and the same road that goes out of Gibraltar towards Spain. But it seems now that it's only pedestrian and scooters and motorbike traffic that can get through. The second thing to know about Gibraltar is that it has significant cultural influence from the UK, but it also has cultural influence from Spain and from North Africa. When you cross over the border from Spain to Gibraltar, you'll notice an instant change. The road signs, the street signs, the different shops that are in Gibraltar. There's a lot of UK high street stores, a lot of supermarkets, the Morrison's supermarket in Gibraltar. Little things, the buses, the police cars, post boxes, opening times of restaurants and shops. Of course, the currency as well. The currency in Gibraltar is pound. It's technically the Gibraltar pound, but as British pound sterling is 1-to-1 with the Gibraltar pound, you can bring pounds over from the UK and spend them in Gibraltar without any problem. There are stores that accept euros as well, but you won't get the best exchange rate. So if you're not coming from the UK, let's say you're coming from Spain and you want to change euros to pounds, to get the best exchange rate, you can use an app like Wise. I've been using Wise for many, many years now, as I find it has very competitive exchange rates with minimal fees. And from certain cash points in Gibraltar, I was able to withdraw those pounds without any commissions. So if Wise is a solution that might help you during your holidays and you're interested in finding out more, I'll leave a sign up link in the video description. However, Gibraltarians have a particular dialect called llanito. So imagine speaking a sentence in English with a Spanish grammatical structure, or speaking a Spanish sentence with an English grammatical structure, or speaking part of a sentence in English and then part of a sentence in Spanish. Spanglish in a sense. This is the simplest way of explaining the llanito dialect, and personally I found it fascinating hearing people speak this dialect whilst I was there. Besides Gibraltarians, you'll find also a lot of British people in Gibraltar as well, which makes sense of course. You'll also find a lot of Spanish people. There are a lot of Spanish people from La Línea de Concepción, which is the Spanish town right on the border with Gibraltar, who come across and work in Gibraltar daily and then travel back. It's very common down here to have cross-border workers. Next important thing to note is that Gibraltar has historically been a very interesting place for people to do business. So as a British overseas territory, it obviously adopted the British common law system and had the advantage of being in the EU for a long time. It's of course not the case right now, and it's been a bit of a complex matter when trade talks between the EU, the UK and negotiations of a deal have been going on, and of course Spain has also wanted to have a say in any matters regarding Gibraltar. Anyways, companies established in Gibraltar that don't derive income from Gibraltar, that's to say they make their income from activities outside of the territory, are not taxed on foreign sourced income. So a lot of companies set up in Gibraltar, they might make money from another territory and that's not taxed in Gibraltar. And on income derived in Gibraltar, the corporate tax levy is only 10%. So very attractive, very low. In addition to a favorable corporate tax regime in Gibraltar, there's also no dividend tax, no capital gains gains tax and no VAT. So very advantageous from a tax perspective. That has, however, given Gibraltar the connotation of a tax haven in the past. It was on Spain's list of tax havens for a long time, but if I'm not mistaken, very recently Spain decided to take it off the tax haven list. And finally, despite being a very small territory, 6.5 kilometers squared approximately, as I said, there is a lot to do in Gibraltar. An absolute must-do when visiting Gibraltar is climb the rock. You can get right the way up to the top of the Rock of Gibraltar into the nature reserve where you'll find wild macaques. And yes, you can walk through the path, you can walk up steps, and the macaques are there just minding their business. Of course, be careful, but very interesting to see them very up close and learn about them as well. You can also see across to North Africa where the Spanish territory of Ceuta is, and parts of Morocco as well. Some incredible views at the top of the rock. You also got the historic centre of the town, Grand Casemate Square, which is kind of the main square of the city. You got the main street. We got a lot of UK shops like Marks and Spencer's, Next, Holland and Barrett, Matalan, for example. Along with a whole range of other shops down that street as well. Definitely recommend you check out the shops, both the UK shops and other stores. As I say, there's no VAT in Gibraltar, so essentially you can shop duty-free in the territory. Just be cautious, of course, if you're traveling out of Gibraltar through Spain. Be conscious of what you might have to declare when crossing the border and you go through customs. If you go to the very southern point of Gibraltar as well, there's a lighthouse and again views across to North Africa. This is Europa Point, where you got a nice red and white lighthouse there. There's also the King Fahd bin Abdulaziz Al Saud Mosque as well, which is currently under renovation, but I'm sure will be finished very soon. There's also a marina, port and a cruise terminal in Gibraltar as well, and there's a direct ferry connection to Tanger in Morocco from Gibraltar as well. And it's only about an hour and a half, 2 hours I think, to cross the Strait of Gibraltar to get to Tanger. So if you fancy a quick trip to Morocco, then you've got the connection there from Gibraltar. So probably a 2 to 3 day visit is good for you to gain everything that you could possibly want to do in Gibraltar. And I hope you found this video interesting and informative, guys. Leave a comment and let me know, have you ever been to Gibraltar and what did you like about it most? So next time, I'll see you on the next one, and let's get this money.